There are moments in life when understanding who you are, what you deserve, and how relationships work simply reveals itself. Like a light bulb flickering to life in the dark, a truth settles in your heart in an undeniable way. You suddenly realize that your need to be loved, respected, and valued doesn't make you difficult. No, you are not hard to love. What you truly are is someone who knows exactly what you want and what you deserve. But over the years, in each relationship that didn't last, in every heart that did not fully commit to you, a perception has been solidifying. If you are hard to love, it's because the people around you are not willing to genuinely invest in you. This is not a flaw of yours. This is not a defect. It is the natural consequence of the pattern of expectations you are creating regarding what is necessary for love to thrive. And most importantly, you are not wrong for having those standards. I know you have probably asked yourself several times, with that sting of pain in your heart, am I hard to love? Or perhaps, do I ask too much from the people who come into my life? I also know that the answer to these questions, in moments of insecurity, could feel like an affirmation of weakness or a sense of inadequacy. But if you are being rejected, if you are being sidelined, it is not because of your standards. It is due to the lack of emotional investment and commitment from the people around you. This understanding can be transformative, and it is precisely what you need to redefine how you see yourself in relationships. The turning point. When you realize that you weren't hard to love, but rather easy to lose, something begins to change within you. You start to detach from the doubts and guilt that were often planted in your mind by those who weren't willing to fight for you. They let you go because they couldn't invest enough to keep you. Your difficulty is not a flaw. Your standards are a healthy manifestation of your self-esteem. Understand this. You're not asking for something impossible to give. You're asking for something basic. What you demand isn't a high price to pay. What you require is a fair exchange, a trade of affection, understanding, and care. And if someone can't offer that, it's that person who isn't willing to commit to what's needed for a deep and genuine relationship. The truth is that people who aren't willing to invest emotionally in you, who lack the maturity to cultivate a healthy love, are easily disposable. They walk away. They don't have the capacity to hold on to what isn't fully given. They lose you, but you don't lose them. You realize that you weren't hard to love. You were hard to lose for someone not willing to do what it takes to stay. And this, my dear, is not a burden. It's a liberation. A liberation from the idea that you have to be more flexible, more perceptive, more open to people who don't share the same level of commitment as you do. This realization will change how you relate to others, and most importantly, how you see yourself. Now, when you begin to redefine your emotional demands, the path ahead may be challenging, but it's also liberating. What you need to understand deeply is that having standards doesn't mean you're placing yourself on a pedestal. Having standards is actually about protecting the best part of yourself. It's a form of care for your emotional energy. It's not about demanding the impossible. It's about surrounding yourself with people who share the same values of dedication, respect, and commitment that you do. Your standards are your shield and your emotional fortress. The idea that having standards makes you hard to love is a lie sold by those unwilling to invest in something real. They'll try to convince you that you're asking for too much, that you're creating distance, but in reality, it's the opposite. You are simply making it clear what you need for someone to be part of your life. And that's what people who desire lasting love do. They invest, they commit, and they are willing to give their best. I know you've heard phrases like, you're too demanding, or maybe you're expecting too much perfection from people. But where does that perspective come from? It stems from the need to downplay your worth so that others can feel comfortable in their own limitations. Those who truly want to be by your side will make a continuous effort to meet your expectations because they recognize the value you carry. These standards are not a barrier to true love. On the contrary, they are an open door to a love worth having. True love, the kind you deserve, will never be easy to lose. It's challenging. It requires effort, dedication, and growth. And those who are unwilling to grow alongside you, who cannot commit to this journey, will easily be left behind. You may have felt pain upon realizing this, but that pain is the pain of a new beginning. The end of a relationship that lacked the emotional strength to support you makes way for something that will be genuine, deep, and lasting. And when you look at this clearly, unafraid to be who you truly are, You realize that each loss was an invitation to something better, more aligned with what you need and deserve. Understanding this is the key to your emotional freedom. Now, you are ready to take a deeper step, where your patterns become your greatest emotional strength. When you accept once and for all that your standards do not make you hard to love, but rather make you hard to lose for those who lack the courage to value you, something magical happens. You become unstoppable, because deep down, you know that what you offer is unique and valuable. You are not asking for too much, you are asking for what should already be a given in any relationship. True love is one that does not fear demands, because it knows that the fruit of that love will be abundant, honest, and pure. Every person who does not meet those standards is not a loss, it is a release. Every person you leave behind, who was not willing to invest in the way you deserve, is not a defeat. It is a sign that you are getting closer to something truly worthwhile. This process of reframing will be liberating because you will realize that there is no mistake in wanting to be loved the way you know you deserve. And when someone truly enters your life and is willing to invest in the right way, you will see that this person will not drift away. Because a true relationship is not hard to maintain when both parties are willing to work at it. When there is commitment, communication, care, and thus you begin to understand that true love is built but never lost. If you haven't gotten there yet, don't worry. The journey has only just begun, and the best is yet to come. We've reached the point where self-perception begins to take shape, more clearly and profoundly. Once you realize that your standards are not just demands, but a manifestation of self-care, a respect for who you are and what you have to offer, you become capable of viewing your choices, your relationships, and your needs in a completely new way. The weight you once carried in your heart, that weight of doubt and insecurity, begins to dissipate like mist at dawn. You suddenly see your own strength with astonishing clarity. I know there have been times when you felt like your expectations were creating insurmountable barriers between you and the people around you. Moments when you questioned if you were being too demanding, if you were putting yourself on a pedestal. This process of self-analysis, of deep reflection on what you expected from those beside you, is not simple. It comes with pain, fear, and the wounds of past relationships. But the great truth you're beginning to realize now is that these wounds are the marks of your growth. They are not flaws. They are signs of transformation, an evolution of your being, of your understanding of love and what you need. And when you start to realize that having standards doesn't make you difficult to love, but rather makes it challenging to lose to those who are not willing to invest in the right way, a new sense of confidence settles in. You begin to respect your own limits. There's no more room to feel guilty for wanting what is fair and necessary. Your standards are not a reflection of an inflated ego, but a genuine manifestation of your need to be treated with dignity and respect. You finally realize that the people who can't meet your demands aren't the ones who are wrong or disappointing you. They simply aren't on the same level of emotional commitment as you are, and there's nothing wrong with wanting more than that. What's needed here is a deep respect for your own emotional strength, a recognition of your ability to choose and to distance yourself from those who can't give you what you deserve. It's not about being hard to love. It's about being so strong, so authentic, and so full of self-love that you're willing to wait for someone who shares the same dedication to investing in and fighting for that love. That, indeed, is freedom. The freedom to choose and demand the best, because you now know that what you have to offer is rare, precious, and worthy of being lived fully. Now that you've begun to free yourself from the shackles of social expectations and the shame of being who you are, you start to notice that a new space is being created within you, a space for genuine love, for relationships that are truly reciprocal, healthy, and balanced. But this space can only be filled by those who are genuinely willing to invest in the same way you are. I know that the process of transformation can sometimes be lonely. You may now feel the weight of solitude, a sense of emptiness as you shed relationships that no longer serve you. But this feeling is not the end. It's the space opening up for something deeper and more true. And in this moment, emotional freedom begins to bloom. When you understand that you're not being hard to love, but simply demanding what's rightfully yours, you create a healthier emotional environment for yourself. And suddenly, the fear of being alone fades away. Solitude is not a punishment. It is an opportunity to deepen your connection with yourself. When you realize that your demands are not obstacles to love, but a way to protect your essence, solitude becomes a refuge, not a prison. It's a chance to cultivate your own inner peace, to strengthen yourself emotionally so that when real love arrives, you can embrace it without reservations, confidently, and with clarity about what you truly want. When true love enters your life, you'll notice that it feels both gentle and strong at the same time. It won't be hard to maintain because it will be genuine, respectful, and committed from the start. There won't be room for emotional games or insecurities. Both of you will be willing to do what it takes to nurture that love. And that will be the love worth having. Not the kind that requires you to diminish yourself or give up who you are to fit into a mold of someone who does not value you. Now, you can see clearly that the standards you have set are not an unreasonable demand. They are the foundation for building something real, profound, and lasting. They are not pushing you away from love. They are steering you away from people who are not willing to invest emotionally in the relationship. And that is something to celebrate, because when you truly invest in yourself, when you establish these standards, you are creating a life where true love can enter, and when it does, it's here to stay. Now, after this journey of redefining and reevaluating your standards, you arrive at a place of emotional wholeness, no longer fragmented, no longer doubting your need to be loved fully and genuinely. You understand once and for all that being who you are, with your expectations, your boundaries, and your vision of what healthy love looks like, is not a barrier to finding love, but rather the pathway to attracting it with greater strength and clarity. You no longer get lost in people who don't know how to treat you. You no longer diminish yourself to fit into someone else's needs. And, more importantly, you understand that your expectations are not a burden. They are a reflection of the deep respect you have for yourself. When you demand a commitment from those who want to be by your side, you're not asking for too much. In fact, you're only asking for the bare minimum required for genuine love. And in doing so, you create space for something more authentic, more real. Now you can free yourself from the expectations of those who cannot give you what you deserve and start living true emotional freedom. Because you finally realize that instead of being hard to love, you have always been someone who has become impossible to lose for those who are afraid to commit to something real. And thus, the cycle completes itself. It's not about being difficult or being alone. It's about being intense, fulfilled, and capable of choosing what is best for your heart. And the best is yet to come. As you continue on this journey of self-discovery, what once seemed like an emotional barrier is now a powerful defense. You are no longer willing to sacrifice what you know you deserve. Every loss, every separation was a step towards something greater. Because now you realize it's not about being hard to love, but about being so valuable that those who don't make an effort to win you over end up lost along the way. And finally, when you allow yourself to be who you are, unreserved and unafraid, you uncover a truth. True love will never be hard to find. It will come when you are whole, free, and able to demand what truly honors you. And this love will not be easy to lose, because it will be firm, deep, and full of mutual respect. You then become the owner of your emotional destiny, finally at peace with yourself.